It was late at night when a pregnant woman named Vanessa was brought to the hospital with a very deep wound. The doctors thought that a wild animal had attacked her, and they started trying to save her. But suddenly she started having labor pain. After a very painful process, a boy was born. The child was removed from there, and Vanessa died. Many years later, an attractive woman took a simple man to a very large fridge. But that fridge actually turned out to be a secret door to a private nightclub. They went inside and started dancing with the crowd. After a while, that man felt that something was wrong. Suddenly, some drops of blood fell on his face. When he looked up, he found that blood was pouring from the sprinkler. All the people present in the club were actually devils, vampires. That man started trying to run away while lying on the ground. But then he suddenly stopped when he saw someone's clean shoes. That person was Blade, and devils used to call him Daywalker. He calmly passed through the crowd and started killing devils without any mercy. He used martial arts and guns. His weapons were very special, which were made of silver, and silver is lethal for devils. After killing many devils, the guards who came under the leadership of Blade surrounded him from all sides. A fierce battle started. This time, Blade used his sword and sharp blades to kill many devils at once. Then he attacked Quinn, hanged him from the wall, set him on fire, and sent a message to Frost. At the same time, the police sirens were heard. Blade quickly left from there. Only the burned Quinn and a terrified man were left alive. The police thought that Quinn was dead, and they took his body to the hospital. A doctor named Karen was assigned to examine him. He immediately felt something strange in his blood and saw his long, pointed beards. Suddenly, Quinn came back to life and attacked Karen and one of his associates. At that very moment, Blade entered the morgue because he already knew about it. He fought with Quinn, but Quinn jumped from the building and jumped into an ambulance and escaped from there. On leaving from there, Blade saw that Karen was injured on the ground and was praying for help. Seeing him, Blade remembered his mother and decided to save Karen. He picked up Karen in his arms and, avoiding the bullets of the police, jumped from one roof to another and started moving forward. He fired back at the police. He fixed the broken bone on Karen's shoulder and left from there. Finally, they reached the secret hideout of Blade. Karen was unconscious, and Blade's friend Whistler gave him a garlic serum to stop him from becoming a vampire. Whistler told Blade that if he becomes a vampire, he will have to kill him. At the same time, there is a meeting going on in the House of Erebus. The Vampire Council is discussing the attacks of Blade. Elder Dragonati scolds a young vampire named Frost for his careless actions. It is known that most vampires want to live secretly among humans, like a hidden community. But Frost believes that vampires should rule over humans, pure blood, vampires, who have been vampires since birth. And there is a difference between those people who were once humans. Members of the council are pure blood, but not Frost. Still, he promises that one day he will end their old system. The next morning, Blade goes to a friend to get the garlic serum. He says that it is not affecting him that much now. His friend is not able to help much and tells him to be careful. Later, Karen wakes up in a strange place. She sees a wall full of weapons, which also includes a special mace sword. When she comes out, she sees that Whistler is giving Blade an injection, which makes his body tremble. They see him and he tries to run away. But Blade and Whistler stop him and tell him that they are on his side. Whistler tells them that he is Blade's master, and they both fight the vampires using silver bullets, UV light, and garlic. They cannot trust the police, because the vampires have already taken them under their control. They ask Karen to leave for his safety. Before leaving, Whistler gives him a weapon named Vampire Menace so that he can protect himself, because the vampires will surely follow him. At the same time, Dragonity goes to meet Frost again, and to waste time reading the old stories of the vampires, he gets angry. He slaps him too, but Frost does not care. When Karen reaches her building, she becomes very careful about every person around her, especially those people who have strange tattoos on their necks. Karen reaches her apartment and sees that Officer Krieger is waiting for her. In the beginning, he behaves normally and says that he has come there because Karen left the hospital without giving any statement. But suddenly he attacks her and tells the truth. He is a familiar, that is, a person who serves the vampires in the hope that one day he will also become a vampire. At the same time, Blade comes there. He already knew that this would happen because he was using Karen as bait. He beats Krieger and shows Karen a tattoo on his neck. Then he says that he will use Krieger to find Frost. They search for Krieger's car and find a truck full of blood bags. Blade pulls out his gun and asks for an answer, but Karen stops him from making a ruckus, and Krieger succeeds in escaping from there. Blade decides to wait for Krieger to return, and Karen says that she will stay with Blade because she wants to find a cure for this disease. At night, Krieger returns to take his car. Blade starts following him around the city. Following him, they reach a vampire nightclub. A guard tries to stop him, but Blade easily defeats him. Inside, Blade fights with other guards until Krieger tells him about a door hidden in a fridge, which leads to a secret archive. Blade lets Krieger go with a message for Frost. Then Blade and Karen explore the place and find a disgusting vampire named Pearl, who keeps a record of all the vampire records. At the same time, Frost completes the translation of some ancient texts. Krieger comes to warn him about Blade, but Frost kills him and eats his body along with his girlfriend. Then he orders Quinn to bring Blade alive. Back in the library, Pearl refuses to talk at the beginning, but Karen uses a UV light to burn him, and he immediately gives up. He tells her that Frost wants to call a blood god named Lamagra. Blade takes a hard drive with important data and kills Pearl with Karen's UV light. Then Blade uses a special kind of explosive spray and opens a door with an explosion. Inside, he finds an ancient Bible of vampires. Suddenly, Blade hears a voice, and he sees a timid little girl. But when he tries to help her, he finds out that the girl is actually a vampire, and she attacks Blade. At the same time, Quinn arrives there with more guards, and the fight begins between both sides. Blade is tied to a pole, and Quinn stabs him to take revenge. A vampire tries to use Blade's sword, but his hand is cut off due to a trap in the sword's grip. Then Blade says that he has an earpiece in his ear. Suddenly, a wall breaks with an explosion. This is Whistler. And after the fight, Blade, Whistler, and Karen escape from a tunnel at the same time when a bomb explodes behind them. That tunnel goes to the subway tracks. When a train is passing, Quinn jumps on Blade and attacks him again. Whistler escapes through a drain. Blade pushes Quinn inside the train, which hurts his face badly and his hand is cut off. Karen gives her sword back to Blade, and Quinn runs away. More vampires are coming, so Blade and Karen jump on the train and run away. Inside the train, Blade injects himself with a serum of blood. Karen begins to suspect that he is a vampire. Back at his place, Whistler explains everything. Blade's mother was bitten when she was pregnant and died after giving birth to the child. Blade grew up alone until Whistler met him. Initially, Whistler tried to kill him, but later he realized that Blade is not completely a vampire. Blade is half human and half vampire. He has powers like strength and healing to heal himself, but he can walk in the light of the sun. The serum he uses helps him to control his need for blood. Meanwhile, Frost and his group wear sunscreens and helmets and bring Dragon 80 out in the light of the sun. They remove his pointed teeth and leave him to die in the light of the sun. Later, Frost shows those teeth to the Vampire Council and asks for 12 volunteers. The next morning, using Karen Blade's serum, she decides to find a cure. In his first test, the vampire's blood bursts. After taking a sample of Blade's blood, he goes to get Blade and things. Whistler investigates Karen and tells her that he has checked the hard drive and explains Frost's plan. For this ritual, Blade needs the blood of a devourer like him. He also says that he does not want to become a vampire. Blade understands this and gives him a gun and leaves so that he can kill himself. After this, Blade gets a video of Frost. In the video, Frost makes fun of him and tells him to come there by giving him an address. Angry and in pain, Blade prepares himself with silver weapons and a new serum and then runs after Frost. Soon, Blade enters Frost's headquarters on his bike. On the first floor, he kills all the guards easily. On the next floor, he fights 2 skilled vampire fighters. After a few attacks, Blade injects them with serum, which they burst. When Blade finally reaches Frost's room, he gets a strong shock. He realizes that Vanessa is alive. She had become a vampire right after giving birth to the child. Frost had bitten her, and now she is with him. When Blade is distracted, Frost and his guards attack him from behind and take control of him. Then Blade and Karen are taken to the Temple of Eternal Night. Blade is very weak to fight because he has not drunk blood. Frost tells him that he has taken serum bottles and throws them in a pit. Then Blade is taken to his place for the ritual. Karen is thrown in a pit, where she finds herself weak and almost dead due to her thirst for blood. There are bones lying on the ground, so she uses one of them to make her unconscious and starts climbing out. At the same time, Blade is tied to a machine for the ritual. Vanessa comes to him and tells him to accept the fact that she is no longer the mother he remembers. Then the machine starts taking out the blood of Blade. At the top floor, Frost stands in line with the members of the Vampire Council. When one of them opposes, Frost's girlfriend kills him. Blade's blood starts flowing over them and Frost. When lightning strikes, she kills the whole council and gives all their power to Frost. With this, he becomes a powerful vampire god. Karen somehow reaches Blade and frees him, but he is very weak. She takes off her bandage and asks him to drink her blood. Blade does this, and he gets well soon. With this, he becomes very powerful and aggressive. At the same time, Vanessa arrives there. Blade fights her and ignores her words. He does not accept her and kills her in the end. Then Blade climbs the stairs and goes upstairs. Quinn tries to stop him, but Blade kills him in a few seconds. After drinking the real blood, Blade has become even more powerful. He fights all the guards with all his strength and quickly kills them without any weapon. Karen follows Frost's girlfriend. Some of her targets miss, but then she uses the vampire menace weapon and kills her. Blade picks up his sword and starts the last fight with Frost. He cuts Frost to pieces, but because of Frost's new powers, he gets well soon. They keep fighting, but Frost is very powerful, and ordinary attacks do not work on him. Then Blade's eyes fall on those serum bottles that were thrown away earlier. He picks them up quickly and injects them all into Frost's body at once. Because of this, Frost bursts and dies. In the end, Blade and Karen escape from the temple. Karen gives Blade the medicine she made herself, but Blade refuses. If he had taken it, he would have lost his powers as a Daywalker and would not have been able to fight the vampires. That's why he decides to continue protecting the city. After a while, Blade is seen in Moscow, where he is ready to kill another vampire who is going to attack a woman.